No one would have expected the Arab Spring to spill over into Egypt, but Mubarak, the president of Egypt for more than 40 years, was ousted after weeks and weeks of protest. The Egyptian people flocked to Tahrir Square and to the streets in waves, and finally Mubarak stepped down. What was to come following the ousting of Mubarak would send Egypt into even more turmoil as the Muslim Brotherhood ascended into power, with Morsi becoming the president. Following another revolution, Morsi too was ousted from the presidency amidst even more civil unrest. Currently, Adli Mansour is serving as the interim president while elections take place.
This video will take a look at U.S. foreign policy towards Egypt since Morsi was removed from office. The issue of foreign aid in particular has been the forefront of news. Historically, U.S. and Egypt have had a complex relationship, and the U.S. struggles with balancing interests and enhancing its national and global security while simultaneously promoting democratic ideals. The Obama administration needs Egypt to remain at peace with Israel and needs to ensure that Egypt will allow transit through the Suez Canal for U.S. ships. Following the ousting of Mubarak, the Obama administration sought to develop contacts with new political forces to stabilize the military and to help the economy. This proved incredibly difficult in the face of all the anti-Americanism that seemed to surface throughout the revolution. Then, when Morsi was ousted, the U.S. attempted to engage the interim government in hopes of helping to stabilize the political situation in Egypt. The main argument made by many was the fact that Morsi was indeed democratically elected, and how could we allow someone democratically elected to get ousted in such a manner? Then there was talk of labeling it a coup d'etat, and in that case, the financial aid being sent to Egypt would be in question. In order to deal with this, the United States government suspended joint military exercises and delivery of some weapon systems and then planned cash transfers. They did, however, continue military aid payments for other weapons and continued on with some of those weapons that had been previously procured.
Shifting the focus to financial policy, the 1979 peace treaty between Israel and Egypt laid the foundation for the current financial support Egypt would later receive. Between 1948 and 2012, the United States provided Egypt with $73.1 billion in bilateral foreign aid, including $1.3 billion a year in military aid from 1987 to the present. Egypt receives the bulk of foreign aid funds from three primary accounts: foreign military financing, economic support funds, and international military education and training. The U.S. offers IMET training to Egyptian officers in order to foster U.S.-Egyptian military cooperation in the future.
In accordance with constructivist INR theory, an emphasis should be placed on the norms, rules, and regulations, and ultimately the interactions and relationships that are taking place in Egypt. The future of U.S. policy should be shaped according to an assessment of what the U.S. should support in Egypt, not whom they should be supporting. Further examining INR theory, Marxism, on the other hand, would have looked at the more capitalistic aspect of the situation in Egypt. Marxism would have focused on the fact that roughly $65 million of the dollars of assistance would go to American and Egyptian non-governmental organizations rather than to the government itself. This was a point that was brought up by the Minister of International Cooperation, Faiza Abu Naga. The future of Egypt remains uncertain, but with elections taking place, we may see yet another shift in Egyptian policy, which will lead to a reevaluation of U.S. foreign policy towards Egypt. Many are stressing an advancement of human rights because in the face of revolution and change, it's the opportune time. In addition, the U.S. can do several things to help aid Egypt and its transition towards a democratic nation. 1, they can support the Egyptian military. 2, curtail sending expensive military weapons to Egypt. And 3, encourage the Egyptian military to decentralize power to an extent. Well, I hope this video has been informative regarding U.S. foreign policy towards Egypt. Thanks for watching.